we finish up with is a document which we call a low utilization maintenance program. LUMP, low utilization maintenance program, based on calendar time. Task intervals are expressed in flight hours, cycles or calendar time. Individual operators may convert intervals based on utilization to their desired units, providing such conversion does not result in exceeding the frequencies identified herein. An operator may package all or any of the tasks into their own check intervals, providing such package does not exceed the intervals shown for the task. For example, we have an A1 check at 500 hours. And imagine now this A1 check will take us 120 man hours. 120 man hours. Now, that 120 man hours is how many hours it actually takes us. If we look at the MPD, there is a factor, and we might find that that factor is, let's say, 2, which would be very, very good, but for the purpose of the explanation, it's perfect. So we would see the A1 check is actually 60 hours, but we have a factor of 2 equals 120. So we want to give 120 hours, and we know that each day we factor in that we have, let's say, 6.5 hours available for the worker. So 6.5 hours times 10 workers gives us 65 hours, times 20 workers gives us 130 hours. So 20 workers should give us our A1 check. And how long does it take? They do it in one day. Basically, during the day, they work on the aeroplane, 20 guys, and they do this check. And it's due every 500 hours. And we say, okay, we want to do it in a different way. Instead of doing that, I want to have a check with less hours, because I want to do it with fewer people. So we say, okay, we're going to split this check into 4, and we're going to call it A11, A12, A13, A14. And basically, we've divided the content of the A1 check into 4 packages. And so we're going to do that at 125 hours, 250 hours, 375 hours, and 500 hours. And each one of these packages, and that's how we discuss the package. What check are you talking about? I'm talking about an A13. And we take the original 60 hours and we spread it amongst these checks. So in general, we have 15, 15, 15, and 15. However, not all is equal. Plus, we will be repeating certain things simply because the aeroplane is coming into the hangar, going out of the hangar, and so on and so on and so on. So we're actually going to finish up with a higher number than that. It's probably going to be 18, 20, 18, 20. For example, Remember though that we have a factor, our factor of times 2. So this gives us 38 hours. This gives us 40 hours. 38 and 40. But the big difference here is with this 40 hours, if we add all this together, we've got 40 and 40, we've got 160, 156 hours. So that's 120, this is 156. So that's the downside. But the upside is this. We have now a requirement for the maximum 40 hours. In terms of manpower, each guy gives us 6.5 hours. So 7 guys will give us 45 hours. 6 guys will give us 39 hours. So what we understand now is, in actual fact, 7 guys is enough. So previously I needed 20 workers to look after this aeroplane, because every 500 hours they were going to do a check. Now I can manage this operation with 7 workers. And that's an example of the decisions that the operator has to make. And this decision is based on how many aircraft, how many workers, when are we going to do the maintenance check. We could actually, with this check, because it's 40 hours, we could say, okay, we're going to have more workers than 7, because we want this check to be done in 5 hours. So if we want it to be done in 5 hours, we need to increase the workers, and maybe we have 10 workers. And so yes, we can do this check now in 5 hours. Okay, great. I want to do this check then between midnight and 0600, because I'm going to fly the aeroplane from 0600 to midnight. I'm going to use the aeroplane for 18 hours, and I want to do the maintenance at night. This is exactly what EasyJet does. EasyJet has 200 plus aeroplanes. That's exactly what they do. With one exception. When they take the aeroplane and it's new, they also do the first C check, which is a 1C check. And they make the first C check into 32 parts. So now we do an A11 plus C11, A12, C12, A13, C13, A14, C14. And then the next time, A11 plus C15 plus C16 plus C17 plus C18. And then by the time you get to the 32nd one, that has taken up about 18 months. And what it's meant is for the first 18 months of the life of the aeroplane, it's only ever been in the hangar in the middle of the night. And it's accumulated 6,000 flying hours without any major check. You can only do it with brand new aeroplanes. You couldn't do that with a very old aeroplane, because the aeroplane is giving you too many defects. But with a brand new aeroplane you can do it. And this is their business model. So they're able to fly their aeroplane from 6 o'clock in the morning till midnight. 18 hours a day. And when the aeroplane turns around, it's a 25-minute turnaround. And the cabin crew clean the aeroplane, even the pilots. I've seen EasyJet pilots going down the cabin with a bag, putting in newspapers. They clean the aeroplane. 25 minutes, it's flying somewhere else. This is their business model, and this is how they maintain their profitability. And when you look at other national carriers, have a look at their utilisation. See how many hours a day they fly. For example, when I was with my old company, we were achieving between, depends on the routes, but 18 hours a day. And compare that with a national carrier who was achieving 6 hours a day. So our aeroplane is working 3 times harder. There's your profit. That's what makes the operation profitable. And all of this sits in the planning regime. Means that the planning guys can be fundamentally involved in understanding how to develop a profitable business model. Very interesting subject.